How's it going? This is some glitchy rhythmical stuff. Actually had a few attempts at recording this. Had, my god, all manner of software and streaming issues, but we got there. Yeah, feeling pretty good today. Had a cool night last night. Went to Cafe Otto here in London. Oh my god, like it was such a fun night. The whole place was absolutely rammed, which normally I absolutely hate busy places, but you know, trying to be a different person, so yeah, quite enjoyed it. Daniel Miller and Gareth Jones, not seen him play before. Big Daniel Miller fan, obviously, like you know, the guy behind Mute Records and the fourth member of Depeche Mode, and Gareth Jones, who is the producer for many of those amazing Depeche Mode albums. So really cool sort of seeing them play, and they're like in their 70s. It's just ridiculous. It's so fun to kind of see that kind of world of sound and being created from people that have been doing it for so long. Also really cool to see how many times they fucked up, which was which was really good. It's what live stuff is all about, I feel. Yeah, they were like having some technical problems. Let's get some spring reverb again. Having some technical problems. Gareth Jones, who's the producer, I think had like the main levels of each of the they were doing like a modular thing, so like really not massively complicated, but you know, for like was reasonably complicated, and they were having trouble getting, I think, Gareth's sound out. Then he managed to get it out, and then he turned the volume thinking it was his and it was Daniel's, and all of a sudden it went really loud, and you could see Daniel Miller like chugging away on his chewing gum. Gareth had a bandana on, just trying to navigate the issue, but yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. Some kind of like arpeggiator sort of melodic stuff, some textured stuff. After that was Anna De Silva, I think her name is pronounced. Not really familiar with her stuff. Remember vaguely the Raincoats from like the late 70s, 80s sort of post-punk band. So she was in like getting on as well. She's rocking out on a guitar, doing her songs, has like a backing track, making loads of mistakes, playing dud notes, forgetting things. Really fun. But like a whole place just full of people and just supporting her. And then the Japanese artist Few, who's also been around for bloody ages. Someone also I wasn't very familiar with. Also having technical issues, couldn't get her vocals to come out. But yeah, man, when she got it going, my god, like, yeah, that was pretty spectacular. So yeah, like, wanted to get this video done before I went out yesterday, but was having all manner of technical issues, and then thought, oh well, I'll have another go today. Still had some technical issues and realised in my efforts to try to improve things, I've obviously missed the obvious and just wired up something wrong. So it's like a day of like faffing about. Anyway, enough of that. Got some kind of glitchy stuff going on. Nothing too particularly fancy, as always. The rhythm's slightly out of shot, but I will make the project available. But the basics of it are a BD Silky kick drum, you know, 1, 5, 6, and 7 steps, and on track 2, I've got a VCO just running. Actually, I didn't think it was a VCO, but it obviously is. So long ago I've done it. It's a whole day. Some I don't know, what is it? It's like a little. Oh yeah, that's right. It's so it's kind of a little you know, squelchy pattern thing. Some high resonance on 70, just to kind of give some squeak and some crunch. I find if you put the resonance up really high on certain settings on the rhythm, it really starts to crunch, almost like bit crushing, especially with the effects. And you're kind of at distortion levels, you get some real weird aliasing stuff going on there. Not sure I like the sound of it, honestly, but definitely usable. So yeah, play around with that. Careful of your ears because it gets squeaky. But yeah, some kind of like, you know, some this kind of thing. It's on an LFO as well, actually, just a gradual one, just a gradual LFO, just gliding through the filter. The delay is set into the LFO as well, just to give a more fine-tuned timing. There's other videos that cover this, but like basically you can trigger the timing settings per step, so you have a micro adjustment as opposed to always having like, you know, these sort of settings on the delay, which is kind of handy just to kind of get those sort of gradual movements. Yeah, so I've kind of got this kind of thing. And also what I was really enjoying was where is it on this one, yeah, this kind of interesting kind of like this sort of thing. So like this sort of thing, like as if you know what I'm on about, this jump, which is, I've got some automation just on step 8, just to kind of like judder it around, just to move the filters from whatever position they're in. And this is on a cycle of 15, so the sequences are on a step and the cycle is on 15, which obviously the math doesn't equal up, so you kind of get this, you know, offset movement all the way through, which kind of makes repetitive stuff sound a little less repetitive, if you should want such a crazy notion. Yeah, so but yeah, I kind of like it. It's got this sort of yeah, kind of like that. And you can also bring a bit of the delay up. So like at the start, you saw yeah, basically starting with the delay, which you can hear that movement, that automation again, just kind of flicking it around. And then, you know, using the rhythm as I often do, like a rhythmical element as opposed to just a spatial one. Obviously reverb kind of presents some space, but I really like the rhythmical use of it. And it also creates like a kind of tonal thing. Sometimes when you put sounds through certain reverbs, it sounds vocal like, and I think it's probably just a combination of the reverbs and like pre-delays that maybe collide and create those sort of frequencies that can often happen when you know, a bit like flanges or phases, you get this offset of delay, and therefore when that's really complex system, when you've got, you know, effects into effects and you're in a reverb, you sometimes get some really nice sort of harmonies and weird harmonics that kind of come out of just reverb, which makes it sound like musical. So it's not just rhythmical, it's actually tonal as well, and as opposed to just spatial. So you can kind of hear that subtly when it does that shift, because it's kind of picking up different frequencies on that movement. So yeah, it takes a bit of balancing, but I mean, nothing too scientific, just like mess about in it until it sounds good. And that's it, right? Oh, there's like a kick drum, which you might have heard. There's a bit of white noise on it, like modulating, I think, from my memory. Yeah, so the kick drum just has a subtle modulation on the click, and then the dust as they've called it is turned up. Interesting term there for what is essentially like old school kind of electronic analog drum sort of sounds. And the white noise isn't what it is. It's like a dust, I guess. Is that I'm assuming that's what it stands for. Like, I don't read the manual, so it sounds dusty. Yeah, kind of does remind me of like when you're turning pots that are got bass through them, they crack like this one. Well, you can't hear actually because it's on the main, but this one, my main volume crackles like crazy, especially when you put bass through it. The Lexicon, which is that shot, the guy who I bought it off was very kind to point out that if you turn the dials, the inputs and outputs, it will crackle like crazy. It really does. Yeah, bass or no bass. So I think the dust term's pretty fun. But yeah, anyway, that's the bass drum. Get some interesting stuff when that's run through like the Lexicon, which I always love running clicky kick drums or clicky kind of basses or sounds through especially when you're well yet. Can you hear that weird digital distortion as it pans in the left and right? It's in the bass. It's like a subtle fuzz. I think that's the Lexicon. It's really nice. Yeah, so like this reminds me actually, when I was watching Daniel Mill and Gareth Jones last night, so their project's called Sunroof, actually, should mention that, but yeah, because Gareth couldn't get his modular stuff, presumably, like from what I could tell, couldn't get his side of the stuff working at start, Daniel was just sort of like rocking out on the just sort of like a squelchy, acidy sort of synth pattern. You know, I think if I had done that live or done that anywhere, I would have been like, I don't know, it's a bit kind of cheesy, but you know, it's Daniel Miller, so I'm kind of like, I'm all for it. But that's the point, right? Just like how you sort of feel about stuff and having the confidence to just have simple things. Sometimes I'm really someone who works with simple sort of sequences all the time, but even I struggle with that. I still struggle with that. Like maybe it needs to do more than this. But just hearing this now, this kick drum and this effect, and hearing that live, like how often do you hear such simplicity in a live performance? You've always got the ego just jumping in there. So you know, it's kind of thinking maybe I really explore simple means a bit more. I done a seminar with the students from work just before jumping on this video, and we were talking about restrictions and stuff. Yeah, surprising how much that those self-imposed limitations get like shut down when you know, unless you keep imposing them. Like if this is sort of it's a constant practice. It's not like, oh, I do minimal stuff, therefore that's done. It's like, I mean, I think for some people maybe there's a style that they aspire to, perhaps, but I think for me, it's not really a goal to be minimal. It's just I don't like complex stuff because it sounds busy and it confuses me. So having the confidence to have something simple and really like dial into it and enjoy like the hisses and the crackles and like with this Lexicon, that fuzz, that the sort of weird digital distortion in the hard left and right. Yeah, you've got to kind of be open to it. So let's take away the dry, just listen to the Lexicon. Yeah, could go on forever. Man, it sounds so good. Really love that Lexicon. Just you know when you're talking, I don't know if you do, you're talking about something and then sound just says, do you know what, shut the fuck up. Like, and then your whole thought process just goes out the window. The power of sound, my god, it's just such a cool medium. I love it. I just love sound. It just decides, what the conversation is sometimes. That just sounds great. I'm really happy with this Lexicon. But yeah, I don't know, there's not much else to say about this particular project. I think the live thing is probably worth, like, I keep talking about like prepping for a live set, and I've got so used to talking about I need to work on this live set that I've actually forgot, oddly, that I have got a live performance to do. Like, that might seem really weird, but it's become just a phrase to motivate myself to work on a live set, as opposed to it actually being a bloody date in the diary that I need to be somewhere to play it. So I've been like, oh shit, I need to actually work on this and not just keep faffing about. So I think it's like I can actually look in my diary, it's like November 5th or 3rd or something. I'm so bad at this stuff. The 3rd, November 3rd, right? And I'm away for a bit, so like I've barely got a week. So yeah, talk about limitations. It might be that time is that limitation. I might just work on this kick drum for a bit more, you know, and just like build up a layer of kick drums and try to use these hisses and stuff to kind of bring out something that's more interesting. I think the structure, this sort of this thing's fine, but it I don't know, like it feels quite of techno-y, and I don't really think of myself as a techno artist, that is. I just like making music, so yeah, sometimes it's a bit of a weird kind of compromise. You're just kind of putting stuff together to kind of get a track together, whereas sometimes you gotta find the track, not force it, you know. So I don't know, interesting. It's just every time I do these videos, like you go in thinking, oh, I'm going to do this, and then halfway through I'm like, do you know what, I don't even know what I'm on about. And the sound will show that. Anyway, I could ramble forever, but I'm going to finish it there. Thanks for hanging out, watching these videos. I'm getting lots of positive comments. There's a few of us who do the videos. It's mainly me at the moment, but there's somebody else who occasionally contributes some of the modular stuff. So really appreciate the support and everything. The rhythm ones seem to be popular, which is good because there's going to be lots of those for a while. I really missed using it, using some other stuff, and yeah, it should be fun. I'm enjoying it. Nice one. I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.